Django web framework. Okay, now using this concept, whatever I teach you, you can develop any dynamic websites using this Django web framework. Okay, just to recall the good features of Python, that will just try to recall. I hope you remember who invented Python. Basic Python we have seen, getting Guido van Rossum. Okay, so he introduced or he invented Python in around 1990, 89, right? End of 90s, early 90s. So he has invented the good features of Python. I hope you remember that Python is a high level language, more of English like, more closer to English language. Maximum things are expressed in English. All the expressions and conditional statements and loops and all more closer to high level. That is more of English like. Then I hope you know that Python is an interpreted language. It's an impure interpreted, means internally it will take your Python code, check the syntax. If it is not having any syntax error, so it will convert it into a bytecode, and then that bytecode is given to a Python virtual machine, which will convert it to actual machine code. So I hope you remember that policy, that is interpreted. So that bytecode is line by line converted into actual machine code and then given to the underlying hardware for execution. Okay, then Python is object oriented. I hope you know that too, that each and everything in Python is object. Ultimately everything is converted into object, an integer, a float or a string or a boolean. You take anything, list, tuple, dictionary, your user defined class, even a function also. Everything Python ultimately converts into objects, right? So that is the speciality. Python is a pure object oriented language. Then you can use procedural concepts, like you can divide your bigger problem into smaller problem, and for every smaller problem you can write a separate function, getting, and then you can call that functions, that is you can reuse those functions any number of time as you want. So that is procedural approach also Python allows. And dynamic semantics, meaning Python is a loosely typed language. It doesn't come under strict type category. It's not a static type language. It is dynamic type language. Static type languages like C, C++, Java, there you cannot use any variable without its prior declaration. You cannot use any variable without its declaration. So prior you have to declare it and then only you can use it, isn't it? So while declaring you have to give its data type. So once you tell the data type, throughout its life it is with that data type, isn't it? So that is not the rule in Python. In Python, no concept of declaration. You directly start assigning the value, and what value you assign, that is its data type. So that is dynamic semantics. And general purpose means using Python you can develop nearly everything, nearly all types of applications: data science, machine learning, then neural network, then natural language processing, so many, even in IoT, everywhere, cyber security, everywhere they have used Python. So one from that is web development, which we are going to focus in this chapter. This chapter is more of hands-on, remember. So this little bit theoretical things once over, so we will be just taking one dynamic website example, and you people have to go along with me. You just have to hear me and attend me. It won't happen. I want you people to simultaneously do along with me. Otherwise, then it will be difficult. Okay. So we are going to create one dynamic website in this whole chapter, and then you can follow that principles for developing any of your website. Okay. So we'll just create one blog website. So for doing that blog website, the step-by-step procedures which I'll tell you, just you have to follow it. Very easy it is. Okay. So more of hands-on will be there. Okay. So general purpose, I said that all applications from which one application is web development, and this chapter will be focusing on that application, that is developing dynamic websites. Okay. So I hope you got it right. So quickly I just recalled all the features of Python. How Python is a high level language, it's an interpreted language, it provides object oriented coding, it is providing you with a procedural coding. Dynamic syntax means no need to declare variable, directly start assigning. What you assign, that is its data type. And all types of applications you can make, from which one application area is web development, and we are going to focus on that area now in this chapter. Okay, so that's what why Python for web development. So main benefits are there that I'll tell you. Few main benefits are the web development is very faster. Okay, means you don't have to waste your time in developing all that things from scratch. Like some people might have developed websites using JSP, or some people might have done websites using PHP without using any frameworks. I'm sure, clear? I'm nearly, I guess, everyone in your academics, you have done website development using PHP also, or using JSP servlets and all. So those website development are without any frameworks. So each and everything you do it from scratch. The pages, HTML, the front end pages also you design. Yes or no? Like admin page and the registration page and login page, all that HTML, CSS and all you use. Okay, and then the backend code of connectivity and all that code also you people write. How this web development framework is going to make all this activity for you very fast and easy. You don't have to write so many things on your own. No need to bother also. No need to bother about creating tables, doing the connection with the backend. Everything happens automatic. Getting? And multi protocols you can handle, multiple protocols you can deal with in one website development. So a lot of benefits are there. What are they? That I'll tell you. So dynamically build web applications. Getting? So you people don't have to deal with all the front end design and all. Okay, you just create the classes, it will match that class to the HTML page, and accordingly it will generate and give you the HTML pages also. So web application development is runtime. That is the one benefit. Multiple protocols you can handle grants ease to build multi-protocol networks. Like you can handle HTTP, FTP, all that, like for file uploading and all, or whenever you upload some documents, you use different protocol. For just viewing the page, you'll use HTTP protocol, right? So all that you can handle in that one framework. Quick processing, that is one main benefit. That client request come, client will generate a request, HTTP request for some page, request go. Then this has provided its own web server also. You don't have to install any separate web server. Like those people who have used PHP, you know it, the Apache web server, you install it. For JSP also, Apache Tomcat and all that web servers you put it. Here this framework has given its own web server also. The client generates a HTTP request, it goes to the web server. Web server will take the request, match it with the Python file, then that Python file is processed, it generates output, and then that output as a HTTP response is delivered to the client. All this thing happens very fast, getting within fraction of second. That's the another benefit. It provides quick processing, and Python is all in one tool. Getting means just once you install this Django framework, everything will be taken care of. You don't bother about the backend part. You don't bother about creating tables and I want to insert a record in that table. All that things you have done it. I'm sure those who know something of PHP website or JSP website. So actually you have sent the queries like insert query, retrieve, select query, and delete query and all. Everything gets mapped. Now, those who have done in Java some frameworks like Hibernate and Hibernate Springs and all, so they might be knowing in those framework also how the work becomes very easy. Exact similar technique, like getting to Python is all in one tool. Why? Because once you install this framework, rest it will take care of. In this framework only, it's having its own web server. It provides its own backend also called as SQLite. Okay, but if you don't want SQLite, some heavy database, you can use that too. But it comes along with its own backend and all. And you people don't have to bother about creating dashboards and admin panels and all. They get automatic generated. Getting to one example website step by step, I'm going to show you how to create in this chapter, and then that steps only you can follow for your problem statement. Whatever you take your problem statement and you can do it, like, okay. So Python is all in one tool. That is the benefit, right? Then what are the different libraries Python has provided for web development? So many libraries are there. The famous one is Django, Flask and all is too commonly used. But there are many more web development libraries. Okay, so few I have listed. These are all purely developed in Python only. These all libraries you'll use for developing dynamic websites. So CherryPy is there, then Django is there, then Flask. These two are too famously. Okay, so if you are going to face for a Python job and all, or any web development in Python, so maximum companies prefer or they ask whether you are aware about these two frameworks. So I am taking Django, but you can take that knowledge and try to learn Flask too. Somewhat similar concept. Then Web2Py is there, Pyramid is there, TurboGear. All these are purely developed Python libraries. Okay? These all are libraries developed in Python for developing dynamic websites, and we people are going to focus on Django. Okay? So we'll see what is Django. But till now, I hope it is clear to you guys, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
what is Django? That we'll see. It is to be pronounced as Django only. Please don't say Django. Okay? And D is not silent also. In the Romanian language, they have to write D. So it is not silent also. Okay? In that Romanian language, when their pronunciation is like that, so it is a process of writing that D. So if you go to the history part of it, there they have mentioned it. In that Romanian language, the D is written only. Okay? So if anyone says Django, please tell him that D is not to be spelled out. You have to say only Django. And it is from, again, a Romanian guitarist. Okay? From his name, it has been given, like, right? So a Belgian jazz guitarist called as Django Reinhardt. So that Django Reinhardt, from his name, they gave this name. Actually, this Django framework is done by someone else. Okay, this framework is developed by someone else, but that person was very much fond of this jazz guitarist. Okay, this Belgian jazz guitarist Django Reinhardt, from his name, it is the framework name is given as Django. But what it is, so it's a pure Python web development framework. Now you'll say, what is framework? So is framework same as a library? Correct? There are some changes in it, slight modifications. Like what is the basic difference between a library and a framework? Okay? You can say like this is a library providing with lot of reusable functions, and you write your program, and in that you just give a call to it. you're using that. Okay, so you are calling that functions, तो control go there, it runs, come back. ठीक है, तो libraries are like कि you are using those functions in your application. Getting? Means the call to the library is given in your app, means your application calls the library and that library you utilize in your program and it continuously. Okay? But framework is the other way. Framework means in which libraries are there. Libraries are used, but frameworks provide you with a skeleton, or you can say a template in which you insert the code. Means in short, the framework calls you, whereas here you calls the library. So there is the basic difference. So always remember, frameworks provide you with the structure. Everything is already pre-decided. Getting? And you just have to insert your code in it. Think like that, that when you go to college, so it's a framework, because the structure of that college is pre-decided. Here in this classroom, FY, SY, or if you are engineering, to FE, SE, TB, where the classes will be conducted, of which branch and all, that is pre-decided. When you go, you have to insert yourself in that particular class. Means college calls you. Getting? And you are getting inserted in that college at appropriate place, and when the work is done, you come back. Right? But when you are conducting an online class, attending, though you are at home, so you are giving call to everything. Now you are using everything. You understanding or no? Clear? So doing everything at home and doing at a college, that is this concept. Correct? So when you are at a home, you are at your convenience. What you want, you give a call, you use it. Then something else you want, you can give a call. So library and framework, that is the basic difference. So framework always provides you with a predefined structure. The template is already decided and your code gets inserted in it. Getting or no? Clear? So generally once you use one framework for something, so it cannot be reused. Meaning for another application, you have to use the same framework and insert your code. Libraries are basically for reusability. But frameworks also use library, remember. So within the framework, libraries are there. They are used. Okay? So always remember, framework concept means what? That is clear to you. Okay? Framework provides you with the application structure. How the application is supposed to be. Okay? It is not in your flow. You cannot decide the flow. They have made a pre-decided structure. The skeleton is already there. Okay? What is at which place is everything decided. You just have to insert your code at the appropriate place in that skeleton or in that structure or in that template. That is the basic difference between a framework and a library. So Django is a pure Python developed web development framework. Getting? So it's a framework for developing your dynamic websites. Okay? See, a high level Python web framework. So I hope you are understanding. Okay, it's a Python web framework. Why? Because this whole framework is purely developed in Python. One thing. And why we call it as a framework? Because the concept, why I cannot call it as a simple library? Because you are not going to start with your .py and then you'll start writing your code, and wherever needed you'll take the help of library functions. It's not like that. Clear? You will write your code, but your codes are going to get inserted in that template or in that format or the structure. So the application flow and the application structure is already decided. You just have to insert your code in that place. Getting clear? So it's a framework. I hope it is clear. Then allows rapid development and a clean design. Meaning no complications. Everything is pre-decided. The structure is decided. Okay. So the coding process will be very easy. And as I said, to develop a dynamic website, it is going to be a very fast way of developing dynamic websites. Ultimately, when you will see this one example, no, then you will realize it. Ki yes, for making this same website in pure PHP, PHP also gives framework, but those who have developed websites in PHP without framework, I'm sure some BCS graduates and all, you might have done it in your graduation, getting, or for engineering students also in Java you might have done without using frameworks like plain servlets and JSP. There, how each and everything you were writing, means even the backend part you were handling, tables creation and all, then through the servlets JSP or through your PHP file you were writing the connection logic and everything, then the queries you were building, right? There was no ORM mechanism, object relational mapping, means your class is automatically getting mapped with the table, nothing facility given, which these frameworks provide, like, clear? So automatic the dashboards and the admin login and all gets generated. You don't have to write HTML, CSS, nothing for that. This framework will automatic create and give you. That's the benefit part. Okay. So rapid development, clean design, and takes care of the hassle of web development, which I said, like the background part, like you don't have to worry about the establishing connection, creating table. They say just create your class structure. So if I create class employee and in that I add data members, e number, e name and all, so it will directly map this class structure to the table. That is called ORM, object to relational mapping. You understanding? So it will read the class structure, and based on that class structure it will create a table, and the table will get created when you just give the values. It will internally generate an insert query and save the value in the table also. Getting? So low level query writing and connection establishing and all that activities are done for you by the framework. Getting? So that's what, no, the framework gives you the entire skeleton. Your requirement you just have to insert in it, right? Then it is free and open source. That is the other benefit. Okay, this Django framework you don't have to purchase or anything. Runtime you can install in your machine by using a pip command and install it. So it is free, first of all, no licensing and all. Like some web frameworks of Microsoft, web frameworks means some web servers also, like IIS and all, clear? And this ASP.NET architecture and all, they give free nowadays, but some part of it, if you need, so later you have to buy it, like, okay? So it is not free, but Django is free, and it comes along with that whole Python code. So if you study that, you can develop your own web framework also. Getting? So it is open source, it is free, that is the other benefit, and extremely fast. Okay, how within fraction of second everything gets generated, and they have given means if you go to Django website, Django's official website, there they have given sample examples, they have given the entire documentation also. You can read that documentation step by step and try to develop your own websites. Getting? So that is the main benefit. So excellent documentation is provided, fast web development, it is free and open source. Then as I said, all the background hassles you don't have to bother. You just create your class, add the properties in it, and on its own it will take that properties and map it to a table. So in the backend, on its own it will create a table, and whatever the properties are there in the class, they will become the data members. You understanding? Clear?
Yeah.
So what I said, like if you are creating one class, okay, I'm giving the class name as post, suppose blogs, I'm creating a blog website. So post title is there, okay, and the post content is there. So I'm just creating a class, adding the properties. Now what this framework will do, it will take these properties and map it in the backend. That is called ORM, object relational mapping. So it takes the class structure and accordingly creates a table in the backend. Getting? It will create a table. See how the benefit is. You don't have to write that queries also. You don't even have to go in the backend and create that tables and all. Create table, post, then internally an ID. It will give an unique ID also. Then it will take this title and make a column. It will take this comment and make a column. So it does the mapping of your class to table. Getting? And here you just give the value, it will insert it. So for that too, you don't have to write queries like insert into and all. When you want to show all this, okay, so for that also you don't write the queries for retrieving, select star from and all. Everything is done by the methods of this framework. Getting? So how it is possible, once we'll see the example, it will be more clear to you. Right? So general, some basic idea I'm sure you might have now. You are getting now how this Django framework is going to make our web development process faster. Clear? Even they give their own web server also. Now web server is obviously needed because every dynamic websites, they follow a client server model. Yes or no? This is your server machine. On the storage of that server, your entire website's files are kept, and here one continuous in the background, one application is running called as web server. Like your backend database, it is also a database server. It is continuously running and taking the query, evaluating the query and giving you the result. So your database management system is also one type of server, but it is a database server. Now in your dynamic websites also, we need one server called as a web server, continuously running, waiting for the client request. It will process the request and give the response. So client generates a request called as a HTTP request. So web server takes the request. In that request, which.py, it will take it, run that py, produce the output, and that output it will again deliver it to the client as a HTTP response. So here this web server which is needed, that is also given by this web framework. Means the Django framework gives that too. You don't bother. They give their own database management system also. Okay, so everything is abstract. How it is happening in the background, automatic, that is the main advantage. Okay, so how to do it, one by one we will be seeing. Now after this, everything is hands-on, everything is practically. So please go along with me only. As I'm taking this one blog website, what we'll do, we'll create one dynamic website where we'll post blogs and people can view that blogs. Okay, so for that one simple Django website we are going to make. Okay, so every steps please follow properly. Before that, just I'm giving some current websites which are using Django framework, or the websites which are based on Django framework. The best example is YouTube. Okay, so YouTube is using Django framework. Dropbox is using Django framework. Quora is using Django framework. Google is also using Django framework. Instagram, then Bitly. Bitly is used for converting your big URL into small URL. I hope you know that, Bitly. Getting? So these all websites are using in today's date Django web framework as their web development framework. Getting? So these are just the commonly used, the famous websites which are, or famous applications, web applications which are using Django web framework. Okay, so I hope till here it is clear to you. Now let's start with the actual practical part. Okay, so from here all the practical steps will start. So please follow accordingly. Okay. Yes, so just quick confirmation you people can give me.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so now let's start with this whole process. I'm sure simultaneously you people are going to do, so please start and keep your PyCharm. One by one I'll tell you. Okay, this is Advanced Python 2. I'll come to my your batch project. We'll close this. Our Advanced Python 3. Okay. Now these are our old programs. I'll just close it. Now first step is to install Django. Very simple. Just peep command is there. Use it. So issue following command. So please take care that okay, after this everything is practical till the end of the chapter. Just go on following the steps as I tell you. Okay? And I'll keep confirming कि you people are also trying it. So issue following command on command prompt to install Django. Peep install Django. Okay? See, I'll just go to the terminal. I hope you can see this terminal. I'll just type peep install Django. Okay? So runtime from the web, as obviously now you are attending my session, so you are online, yes or no? Without internet obviously you cannot attend the session. So this uses internet, and through the official Django website it will download it, okay, and install it in your machine. Okay, so just quickly tell me if in your machine also this thing is done, then we can proceed with the next thing. If you're facing problem, you people can tell me. Peep install Django. Yes, done with it?
Successfully installed, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
right? Monica, you were not there now. I thought like you got disconnected and you left the class today.
Ah, sir, I got disconnected in between, but I reconnected.
Okay. So, is it done? Abhishek, both the Abhishek,
Done, sir.
Anuja. Sure, Aniket, Anuja, and all.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
I am getting error.
You're getting error. Why?
Yeah.
Could not find a version that satisfies what you gave. Command what you gave. Peep install Django. That's all, no?
Yeah, for that also I got error. This one. Then I tried 3.2, but that also gave.
No, but peep install Django. And
Yes, yes.
which version Python you are having already?
You're not. 10 point something, I think.
3.10. Mine is 3.8, but if you have installed latest one, 3.9 and all. But it should not happen. It should get installed.
Yes.
Installed, sir.
Huh. Others like Abhishek is done with it. Monica is done, I guess. What about Anuja? Aniket?
Yes, sir. Done.
Done, no? Because without this, we cannot proceed further. Because next thing is based on this only.
Okay, sir. I'll Google and fix it. No problem.
Peep install Django. That simple command it was. pip install maybe the spelling something you are doing wrong or something, just check. ठीक है, no issues. So I'll proceed further. Like major 3 students have done with. Anuja, what about you?
Done, sir.
Okay, very good. Then let's move on. Now next step is you have to create one Django project. Okay? And one project can have many Django applications, and every application can do its own designated task. Okay? So one Django project, and in that one Django project you can have any number of Django applications, and every application you can assign a separate task. It's up to you. Get it? So the structure is decided. So now that process you have to follow. The next step is we have to create one Django project. Okay? To create a project, issue following Django command to create project in Django. You can say like a project, Django project is the folder, or it's a location inside which your applications will be kept, and Django application means inside which your all Python files related to your websites are kept. So the structure is decided. Exact same like those who have done if servlets and JSP in Java, if you have done. So there also see like in your Apache Tomcat web app, you create your own web application folder. So that web app is acting like a project, and inside that any number of web applications you create. A similar structure it is. Clear? Or same way like those who have done in PHP. So in where www.html, that acts like your project, and inside that you create any number of folders, right? So the structure is very important. That structure is to be maintained. So now we have to create a Django project, and for that very simple, Django admin start project, and give any name to your project. It's up to you. I have given my web. Okay, so it is up to you what name you want to give. Okay, see, we will quickly issue it here on the terminal only. I'll issue a command like Django admin, okay, start project and name of the project. So I am giving project name as my web. So if you don't want to take a risk, then initially give this. Once you are successful with this, then later you try developing one more, and in that you can give some another name and try. Okay? Okay, start project. Django admin. Oh, very sorry. What I did is I did something wrong. I was supposed to issue this command here in the terminal. What happened is, see here, see all of you. For you people it will come because I'm sure you are not on. Okay, now it will come. Okay? What happened is I started that Python interpreter there. You have to write Django admin start project and my web. Any name you give, it's up to you. Done. You can see here now in your this thing like advanced Python 3. Can you see here my web? One folder is created, and the structure is very fixed. Inside that my web, again there is one my web. In that these fixed files are there. Get it? Because this whole Django framework follows MVC architecture, that is Model View Controller architecture. This manage.py, then these inside that again myweb, and these fixed files are there. Okay, in this myweb. So if this is done, then you give me the confirmation, we can proceed further. Okay?
Done, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now this Django admin, that is the command to create project, and myweb is the name of your project. And once this project is created, you should be able to see this structure. Correct? I hope something about MVC you might be knowing in Java, or those who have learned Angular, they also might be knowing. Those who have learned ASP.NET, some basic idea about model view controller concept. Means it is a design pattern. Means it's a methodology of developing an application where the application is breaked into three parts, like model, which keeps the data, the view part, which is responsible for presentation, and the controller, which handles user interaction. So heard or no, never you have heard about MVC and all. Even while learning Swing in Java, you might have heard about MVC. No, yes, just tell me.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
have
sir.
sure, like in Swing to fix, I'm sure you might have heard about MVC and all, Model View Controller
sir.
architecture. Anyways,
ASP.NET.
in ASP.NET also, exactly, because ASP.NET also follows that MVC architecture. So this Django framework by default uses MVC concept. So now at this moment, just tell me, after issuing this command, are you able to see this structure in your folder?
Yes, sir.
Clear? MyWeb, inside that
Yes,
MyWeb.
sir.
Now inside MyWeb, these .py, and this .py is in this MyWeb. This outer MyWeb contains this manage.py, and this manage.py is very important file, because through that only lot of things are going to be done, like database migration, starting your web server, everything this py does. Okay, so if this part is clear to you, the project structure after applying this command. Okay, so if it is clear, then we can proceed to the next thing, to test whether our web server is running fine or no. Okay, so we will start our web server and then go into the browser and check whether my web server is successfully running, and it should give you one welcome page, as you do it in Apache Tomcat. I'm sure once you start Apache Tomcat, so you go in the browser and check localhost 8080. So 8080 is the port number, and localhost is the port IP address of the machine on which your Tomcat is running. So you write localhost colon 8080, then a welcome page of that Apache Tomcat comes. Yes or no? If you remember, just tell me. No, to no issues. I'll show you here. Here also you will get a welcome page. So till here, if it is clear, so now you just have to go in this folder, this first my web app, by writing cd my web app. See here, cd my web app. So at this moment I am in which folder? My web app. If you say dir, you'll see the structure. See, getting? Can you see? In my web app there is one more web app, and in my web app there is one manage.py. You can see this manage.py is in this outer my web app, and this whole my web app folder is inside this.
So which command you use to check that?
dir, same as ls of Linux. In Linux we use ls, so here we use dir.
Yes.
No need to check it, because here you are able to see it. No? Actually there is no need, because here only you can see the whole directory structure. Okay, okay, so till here I'm sure you all are done with it. So change the directory to the newly created project using cd command, and view the created files using dir command. This is just I'm telling, ideally not needed to use dir command, because in your project explorer, PyCharm is so enhanced IDE that here only you can see the entire folder explorer. So your main folder, subfolder, and this file is in this outer my web app. ठीक है? Done. So till here, if clear, then we'll proceed quickly to the next thing. Chalo fast.
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Now next is let's start
Clear,
the web
sir.
server. Let's start the web server, because when you're developing a dynamic website, you need to have a web server. And what is the job of web server? Take the client request and process it and generate a client response. So from the client, when the request go, client sends the request through the browser. Obviously, when it's a website, so if it's a website, so how the client will send the request to the server? Through the HTML page, that is through the browser. So through the browser, when client sends the request, what is generated? HTTP request. But that request goes to the server, isn't it? So on the server side, is there one application running continuously in the background which is waiting to take the client request? It will receive that HTTP request, handle that HTTP request, generate an HTTP response, and deliver it back to the client. Client receives the response and shows it in the browser, isn't it? But for whole thing, who is supposed to be running on the server side? Now in this case, currently when I am giving the demonstration, so I am doing it on the local machine. Means my machine only is acting as a server and it is only acting as a client. Both the roles my machine only is playing, isn't it? So is my server on some remote machine? If it is on the remote machine, so I have to use that machine's IP address. But if it is on the same machine, then use only localhost. So localhost is the domain name of my machine only. So actually in place of localhost, we have to use what? The IP address of the machine on which your web server is running. And web server is running on that machine. But is it giving services to the client on some port number? I hope you know the concept of port number, networking chapter. In networking chapter, we have discussed who takes the care of port number, transport layer, and IP address, network layer. Network layer uses IP address to deliver the packet to the correct machine. But after the packet comes to the correct machine, getting? On that machine, many applications are running. So are every application announcing their port number? Yes or no? So in the incoming packet, port number also has come. So is the transport layer going to match the incoming port number with the application port number? And with whichever application port number it matches, it delivers the request to that application only. Yes or no? All these things I have taught you in the networking chapter.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so
Yes,
please
sir.
Yes, sir.
respond, right? The same thing here also going to happen. So the first task is we have to start the server. To run the web server. This is your web server, remember. Okay? Whose job is to take the client HTTP request and give the HTTP response back to the client. Why? Because the entire web is governed on HTTP protocol. I hope you know it. So issue this command, Python manage.py run server. This manage.py is a very important part of this whole concept, because this manage.py only is going to do a lot of things. It will start the server, it will migrate the database, so many things this manage.py does. So just issue this command and you'll see that in the background your server is running. Okay, see Python manage.py and run server. Enter. Okay, the moment it is entered, it is saying, see, it is saying that on this port number, so Django Web Framework's web server uses 8000 port number. Like Apache Tomcat uses 8080. Only Apache uses 80, which we use for PHP. Getting? So every servers are announcing their port numbers. even not only web servers, your database servers, your file server, your email server, your SMS server, every server announce their port number. And this port number is used when the client request come. So in the client request, the port number is there. And who uses this port number? Transport layer. Okay? So transport layer matches that port number with the application port number. Get it? And why this is this is equivalent to localhost. Getting? So it is telling that your Django web framework web server is running on this port number, and this IP address. This is the IP address of current machine only. If it is running on different machine, give that IP address. Okay. So here see, if you want to stop the server, they are saying control break. But now your server will be continuously running in the background. Okay. Now let's test. So if you click on this, then also your automatic browser will start. Or manually, if you want, you can go open a new window and here you write localhost : 8000. Enter. And the moment you say enter and you're able to see this page with a rocket, okay, and if this page has come, it indicates that your Django web server has started successfully. And they have given proper documentation. If you click on it, it will go to its tutorial. Then one website also, polling application they have created. So now I'll create a blog website. Later, whenever you get time, go through this polling application and develop their step-by-step web application. So you'll get more confidence of two websites. Like one I'll take, one you go with this. So you'll be more confident. Okay. So if this welcome page is coming, then it indicates your website, your web server, Django web server is running successfully. Now after this, the next step is to create web applications, because here you just have created a web project. Now inside one project you can have many number of web applications, and every web application can be given its own designated task. Like one web application is taking only the role of particular thing. Like if it's a very big website, so you have to divide that into different parts. Then every part will be the responsibility of separate web application. Agreed? Okay? So just quickly give me the confirmation. See now. So I hope you got it. Python manage.py run server. See to it that you are in this my web app. And you are in this my web app. Why? Because I wrote cd my web app. Okay? So make sure your location should be where your manage.py file is located. So manage.py is in this my web app. So you are in that folder. Okay? Now, the project can be viewed in your favorite browser, whichever browser you like. Go to the browser and type localhost 8000. 8000 is the port number and localhost is the IP address of the machine on which your web server is running. And your web server, that is Django web server, is giving service to the client on port 8000. So remember, who uses this IP address? Network layer. And who uses this port number? Transport layer, to deliver the request to the correct application. Because there can be many applications running on this IP address, right? Okay. So if you go to the browser and type localhost 8000, enter, and you see this welcome page, means it indicates your web server is running properly. Okay? If yes, so please give me confirmation so that we can move ahead with the next thing. The next I'll tell you how to create a web application. Then we will create one class. Then we will map that class to the table. We'll migrate it to the backend. Okay. And then we will see how our admin page looks. Okay. how the admin dashboard is automatically created, everything I'll show you. Okay, so please all of you just give confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Sure, no? All of you are able to see that welcome
Yes, sir.
page. Sure? Okay, good. Very good. So let's move on. Now next step is create an application. Already I said one Django project can have any number of application, and every application job can be designated. You can devote a separate task for each application. Okay? So the first step is to create an app using this command. See, to create an app also this manage.py is responsible, and that's the reason I said this is very important file. So now you'll issue command python manage.py start app and give, these are all the command line arguments to this manage.py. This is a plain Python file, means this whole framework is developed in Python. Just these are the arguments, command line arguments going inside to this py, and then when py reads this command line argument, accordingly it takes the actions. Okay, so in place of app name you give whatever name you want. So in my case I'm going to give blog. Okay, now in Django there can be many web applications under one Django project, and where each application can be given designated task, means where every web application can do its own specific functionality. Okay? So if it is a very big website, so one is only handling chat part, one is only handling advertisement part, one is only handling registrations and all. So this way you can divide it into many apps. Okay? So in Django there are many apps for one project, and each app can have its own designated functionality. Okay, now first अरे हेलो अवनी, काय झालं? मम्मी आलाय ना. Okay, Abhishek, it worked now. So what you were doing wrong? Some spelling wrong?
No, sir. I just restarted my PyCharm and I was in a VPN.
Okay. ठीक है, you got it. Now let's issue this command quickly. So for this, for time being, I can stop my server. Later when we'll create my web apps, and then when we want to start the admin part, that time again we'll start the server, don't worry. Okay, so I'll just write control break. Okay, control C you can type. C, control break. Okay, means for time being we have stopped the web server, and now issue the command. Okay, and you are still in this my web app only, my web, in which that manage.py is there. See, python manage.py, then start app. Actually I need to not too frequent with this Django framework, because I have lot done with Java and PHP. Okay, so I also have to refer many times. Blog. Okay, so python manage.py start app, and I have given blog. It is up to you what name you want to give. Enter. The moment you'll do it, you'll see again one folder with a blog name created. Can you see here? See, in that all these things will be there, these standard files. If you are able to see all this thing, just quick confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Right now what you have to do is, you have to tell to your project, you have to inform to your web project that this is the application I have created. So you have to go in this settings.py of your MyWeb. See, MyWeb, blog, MyWeb, blog and MyWeb. Okay. Now inside this MyWeb there is settings.py. So in that we have to go, and there we have to make an entry of blog. Clear? So that is the next step. See, the second step is to make our project let know about our newly created app. Means you have to inform to your web application project. Okay, that we have created this new app. Okay, so go to your MyWeb app settings file in installed apps section, and there just you have to add this application name. See, this way. Okay, I'll show you that. Now I hope you can see this settings file, settings.py. Double click, just go in this, and here installed apps, there we just have to make an entry with the name blog. So later if you go on adding new applications, that way you will go on appending the names. Clear? Okay, see, it should be like this. So in this all, last you will make addition, just comma and the name of your application. If it is clear, just tell me, or if you have done with it.
Also,
Sure, no? Others also. I need confirmation because I want to see that whole,
Yes, sir.
this whole simple dynamic block website getting created on your side also, because this needs more of hands-on. This is not just observing and then later I'll do, because later if you do, you will get stuck somewhere. Simultaneously if you do, it will be more better. Okay, so this entry is done. Okay, right, now others also, please quick confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Monica,
Sir.
Abhishek, Buddha Abhishek.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we'll come to the next part. Now what I want to do is, in my web application folder, अरे काय मी किती वेळा सांगू रे. अवनी, अर्णव, okay. Now next task is that we want to create one blog form. One form should get created through which I can add the blogs. Okay? I can view that blogs. I can delete that blog. I can edit that blog. All CRUD operations. And for doing all this, first I have to create. To create, retrieve, insert, update, delete. Getting? So that is called as a CRUD operation. So for this, you don't bother of going in the backend and then creating a table, and then you don't have to bother about creating forms and then inserting the record and deleting that record. Everything is going to be done for you by the framework. Only you have to create one class in which you will tell the structure of your table. Okay? That is only the important part. So what you will do is, you will create one class and in which you will tell what are your data members, and that data members will get mapped to the columns. You understanding? And for mapping to the backend column, Python also has given its own class. So Python class will get mapped to backend class, backend data type. Like in backend, if there is a varchar or char, getting? I hope you remember, like if it is MySQL or whatever. So in that, if you have varchar, char, text, then number. So for mapping them, this Django framework has created already Python classes, and these Python classes get automatic map to that backend. So your task is just to create a class corresponding to your table. So if I want to create my post, so I'll create a class, and in that I'll add the data members, and I'll give the type also to that data member. Getting? And now what this framework will do, it will on its own map it. That is only called ORM, Object Relational Mapping. So it will map this class to the table. So first of all, it will establish connection with the backend. So now this Django framework automatic uses SQLite. SQLite is not a heavy database. It's a light database. If you want something else, you can do it. Okay. Now in this website, I'm going to use the backend which Python only has given. Not Python, this Django framework has given. So Django framework has given SQLite as a backend. SQLite is in your cell phones also. Cell phones also uses SQLite. Okay? So what is going to automatically happen by the framework? What framework will do is establish the connection with that SQLite, take this structure and create a table for you. Don't worry about it. It will automatically create a table with the same class name. What is the class name? The table name. Not a single line code you have to write for creating the table. Create table, table name and all. Only create a class structure. It will map it. Class name becomes the table name. And here what the properties you have written, they become automatic the column. And on its own it inserts one ID also, a unique ID, auto incrementing ID as a primary key. Done. Don't worry. Getting? And this framework will give you proper forms in which that add button, delete button, update button, everything is there. No need to create your HTML form and nothing. This whole framework does for you. Getting? Only the main task is to create this model, that is this class, in which you will add your properties and it will later migrate it. How to do the migration, that all things I'll tell you. Okay? So next step is C, changing in our models. Right? So Django uses SQLite as its default database. If you want some other database to use like MySQL or Postgres, there is a provision, no worries, clear? But now I am telling you to use which backend? SQLite, which by default comes with Django. Django by default comes with this SQLite database, okay, which is light and only used for small projects, means there are not heavy records. Getting? If there are heavy records, then you have to go for some other backend. So which is fine for this project because we are just creating a blogs website. Okay. Then, as I already said, it makes use of object relational mapper. ORM concept means what you got it? You just define a class, add properties in it, and it will map that class to the table name and the properties to the column names in that table. So all the properties become automatic column and the table name class name becomes the table name. Getting? That way the mapping is done. Okay. So it uses ORM, which makes it really easy to work with the database. And even a single line code we are not going to write for establishing connection, which we did it in chapter 2, I guess. Okay. Here that whole code is generated. Obviously, without writing a connection code, how you can connect with the backend. But is that code we going to write or already there in the framework? Framework has given it. Just our class structure it will take and insert that code. Okay. So the actual database code is not written. Whereas the database tables are also created from that class keyword, which is there in models.py. So in models.py we'll define our class structure. So what name you give to the class, that automatic becomes the table name, and the properties in it becomes the column name. And what the type of that property is, accordingly it will create a column type in the backend. Okay, so how to do it? See, come to which file? Models.py. Okay, so till here I'm sure you're clear with it. See, in this block folder, can you see this models.py? Here you have to add your model. Now you'll say, what is actually model? Model means which keeps your application data. Your app data is maintained by whom? That is model. Okay, so entire application data is maintained by model, and that data to be presented to the end user, that is the job of view. View's job is to present it to the end user. Therefore, using HTML, CSS and all, then there is a concept called Jinja technique. So using Jinja technique, it will substitute your value in that HTML and give it to the client browser. So that is view, and interaction between them is happening because of controller. Okay, so model, view, controller, they are the links. So as many tables in your application, that many classes you will make. That simple concept it is. Okay, so here you have to put a class for your post, as we are going to create a post. See here, class post. It is derived from class model, which is in this models. Okay, so models is one module, and in that module there is a class called model, and your class is derived from it. Okay, then I'm adding two properties. One is title and one is content, but they both are objects of this class. See, char field, text field, these are the classes, and these two classes are in again this module. Models is a module. See, you have imported from django.db import modules. So in this there is a class called text field. In this there is a class called char field. So you are creating objects of these two class, because I hope you know in Python, class name round bracket creates an object of that class. So title is an object of char field, content is an object of text field, and they both are members of class post. For char field, this is one argument to be given. Okay, that is what is the max length. So is it in the backend going to get converted to the respective data type? Okay, char field will get converted into varchar 50. Text field will get converted into text, variable length text. मी क्लास घेतो, मी दरवाजा अर्धवट उघडा टाकताय, मागे तू बाहेर तुमचे कुकर चाललंय, सगळं चाललंय. ठीक है, this two part are clear, and I am adding one dunder method. ठीक है, what is the use of that dunder method? That is when view displays your post in your HTML, in your HTML page, when all your posts will be displayed, so one by one you are going to fetch the record from the table while displaying. You will insert each post, but when you display it back to the client, so again what happens, one by one that records are coming and they are getting copied in the object of post class. Post class object is created and the records get copied here. And now when I display this record, I hope you know it, what gets called implicitly according to Python, tell me, when in a print I pass any object, what is called implicitly? What is this?
Dunder method.
The dunder method. The same thing here will happen.
Dunder method.
So later when you are going to display all this post in your HTML, so through the loop one by one records are fetched. For fetching that record also you don't have to write a select query. That is done by the framework. Actually select query is generated. You don't have to do. It is already there in the framework. The query will retrieve record and give you. But when that record is coming to you people, it comes as a post object. And then that post object, when you give to print, it will give a call to its dunder method, that is double underscore str. But in that, I'm just displaying title. I'm not displaying anything else. If you want, you can display that, but I am just going to display the title. Therefore, see, I have written self.title. Okay? So your task is just to define this. Later, framework will take care of. Now, what framework will do? It will take this whole class structure and generate a code for you in which connection is established, table is created, everything happen. Now you run that script, and when you run the script, it will establish the connection, send the create query to the backend, the table will get created, and here you'll get a message that everything is done, right? So hope till here it is clear. So first I'll add it and then we'll see the explanation. Quickly we'll do it. See, so I'll come to models and here see class post. Now it depends on what table name you want, my dear student. Now in this website I'm creating blogs. So one blog, multiple blogs I'm going to keep in one table called post. Okay. Now it is derived from models dot model, I guess. Okay. Now when you develop some 4-5 websites, automatic you'll start becoming comfortable with it. Different problem statement websites you take. Okay, like this is one blogs, then as I said polling, then hit counter, like this some 4-5 websites you will make. Now automatic this will become, you will come to know the whole flow. It won't be that difficult for you. Okay, models.char field. Char field is the Python class, but remember when it is going to get migrated, it will convert it to the appropriate data type of SQLite. Getting? Max length I have given 50. Content is one more property, models.text field, which is equivalent to variable length. Text field is equivalent to variable length character, and this is a fixed length character. Okay, these are the classes of Python. Objects of that classes are created, and then using that ORM concept, object relational mapping, it will map this to appropriate backend. Okay, def str, and I am returning only the titles. It's up to you what you want to return. And when this is going to come into picture, this dunder method will come into picture when later, when you have inserted some blogs in the table and now you want to view all that blog. So when you'll fetch all the blogs, it will be displayed in the browser. So while displaying each and every blog, so all the records which are getting fetched, they are coming to you people in Python as a object of class post. One record fetched is copied here in one object of post class, and that object when I pass to print, it will call its dunder method. So dunder method will just display its title. Okay, it is clear. Now we'll just see the explanation. Already I have told you. So inside blog models.py, you need to create a new model named post. It depends, like if you are creating for some registration page and all, so you create that class accordingly. Okay, so this is a class that will become a database table. But see, anywhere are you writing the code for creating the table and all? No, framework will do the mapping. Okay, so in the SQLite backend, there will be a table created with the name post, and these two will be the columns in that table, and implicitly one primary key also it will add it. See how they have done it. Such things they have done for you people, and they are making your development process so faster. So this is a class that becomes a table, okay, which currently inherits from models.model. So in this models module, there is a class called model. Then as in a standard blog, okay, every post contains the title. So that title is of fixed length, therefore I have given char field, and to which I have passed one max length argument which in my case I have given 50. If you want to increase it, increase it. And every blog will have the description of that blog title, but below that I'll have some description. The description is not of fixed length. Is it of variable length? Yes. So therefore I have used text field, which contains the detailed text of the post as in your standard blog, right? Okay. And then I have defined one dunder method, that is str, which is returning the title of your post. Okay, returns the name of the actual title of your post. So it's not returning the whole post object, it's returning only the title. If you want to return something else, you can. So in my context, I have just returned title. Okay, now this step is done. If it is clear to you, so we will quickly see the next part. Okay, I hope you can give me some more time.
Yes, sir.
Sure, no? We will extend it for some time, at least till the admin part, at least I'll show you for today. What say?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now the next thing is there. Now class post is created. Now let's convert it into a table in the backend, and then let's start the admin panel, and then through admin panel we will add a new post, we'll view the post, okay, we'll delete the post, everything. But for that, no need. This framework will give you the entire panel for you, in which all that activities will be done. Okay? So next step is migration. So use the command python manage.py make migration. Okay? So first migration, when you do this, it will create one more Python script. Hear carefully. And in that Python script, all the database connectivity code, and then converting this post class to a table, and then it will generate a create table command, and then it's going to issue it to the backend. So that script is generated for you. And after that, you have to run that script. When you'll actually run the script, that time the actual connection will get established, the query will go, and you'll get a response that table is created successfully. Getting? But for creating that table, first a script is to be generated. So that is done by this step. So it's the first step process which reads model.py. Okay, and from there it will take the class structure, and by reading the class structure, it will convert it into such Python script which will send a connection request, then it will send the query of create table, and then it will wait for the response, and then it will give the message the table is created successfully. Getting or no? But for doing all this, we need a script. But we don't have to write the script. The script is also created for you by the framework. See here? So that is done by this command. Okay, see. It creates a new folder called migration, where inside that there will be one file init.001 initialize.py, which are portable across the database. Getting? Means for every database it works, right? So this script is first created. Now you have to run this script, and once you run the script, I told you what all activities it will do, because inside that script, what is written inside this script, the code for establishing connection, the code for sending create table command, everything. No single line code we have written. Everything has happened within it. Okay? See. So quickly we'll give that command. See here. The command is again Python only, manage.py. Everything that manage.py is doing, it is the main role player. Make migrations. Okay? Enter. See. So it has created a migration for blog. Can you see? Create model post means internally what it has done, it has created a table for post, but actually now the table is not created in SQLite. It has just created a command for it. You're getting? See, if you go to this migration folder, you'll see this py file. Can you see this py file is created? And in that whole code is created. See. You understanding? Okay. Now our task is to actually now run this script. And once you run this script, now it is going to send the command to SQLite. First establish the command, then send the create table command. That is the next step. So till here, if you have done, tell me if this part is done. Python manage.py make migrations.
Done, sir.
Sure. When you do this make migrations, it will read that models.py in which you have given that class post. You understanding? The class post. So it fetches that class post information. Okay? And from there it generates a code for creating the table. Now actually establishing the connection. Okay? So migrating to the database. Now this code we have to run so that now in real it will send the query to the backend, and in the backend the table post will get created. Okay? So this is the second step where you have to write this command. See, Python manage.py migrate. Now what this command will do, it will read this init.py which is in this migration folder, and whatever information is there, accordingly it will create a table in the backend. See, and creates the database, and it evolves the database when there is a change in the model. Meaning whenever there is any changes happening, automatically the changes are happening in the backend also. Okay? So this part is clear. So let's do that second step quickly. Here what I'll write now, Python manage.py migrate. As I said, in a few websites when you'll make it, you will automatically get used to it. Me too, I have not developed so many websites in Django, but I'm planning to convert all my PHP websites in Django websites. Enter. See, all these steps should come and see how they are doing it automatically. See, if you read it, you'll come to know. See, just by reading that init001.py, see everything it is doing. You can read it. See, it's in the backend, all that alter command and all that things it has done, and finally it is saying that okay. So now we are confirmed that in SQLite what is created, what this whole process confirms, that in the backend a table with the name post is created with the column title, content and ID. ID will be there as a auto increment number, which will be a unique number to your post, which is primary key, and then the title and then the post. Done? Okay? So if it is, means if these steps are also seen in your machine, just quickly tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sure? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Pakka, na, all of you. And you
Yes, sir.
wrote that models.py properly in this way only, no? As I have written. Good. So if this is coming, means you have done it properly. Now let's start our admin panel. Admin panel will give you automatic login page. No need to create your own login page. It will give you login page. Then once you log in, it will show you a proper dashboard, and in that dashboard it will show you your table, that is post table, and there it will allow you to do all the standard operations like retrieve, insert, delete, update. Okay, and for all this automatic HTML pages are generated. not a single line code you have to write. ठीक है? तो now we will start with the admin part. So registering to the admin is the next step. Okay, so see, go to blog admin.py, right? Just follow the steps properly. So go to blog admin.py and do an import of the models called post by using from models import post. Okay, so let's go to that step. See, can you see this admin.py in your blog folder? Just keep giving me confirmations. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once I go there, I have to type this from models, or just see this whole file. Okay. So one line I'm going to add from models import dot models, huh? Because currently we are in that folder only. No? Admin file is also in that folder and models is also in that folder. So that file, when I want to use the file which is in that folder only, used in another folder, so use just dot models, because dot represents current directory. Import post. Okay, and is post a class in this file? In models file, is there a class called post which we just now created?
Yes, sir.
Okay, done. And then after that, see, and can you see when I click on this file, the skeleton files are already there. That is the concept of framework. Framework gives you the template. You just have to insert your code in that place. Okay, see here the comment is also there, register your models here. So I have to register it by calling register method or register function of this site, which is sub of admin. So to register models to the admin, the command is admin.site.register and give the class name. Okay, see, admin dot site, it's not sites, dot register, right? And then name of the class. That's all. Till here, if it is done, then we will just start our admin and we'll do the next work. Okay? If this part is added, just give me that way confirmation.
Yes, sir. Done.
Sure, no? Others also?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we'll move on to the next step. See, creating super user
Yes.
and viewing the administration panel. Okay. So to go to open the admin panel, so I have to give some login details, no? So that with that login detail, I'll enter into the admin panel. But to enter in admin panel, it will show you one admin login. No HTMLs you have to make. Those who have done websites, as I said, now those who have done websites without frameworks, I'm sure you have done it in plain PHP, JSP servlets and all. There we didn't use any framework. So we were developing that HTMLs using CSS, Bootstrap, and then designed all the HTML page. Here, everything is automatic going to happen. Okay? So you need to create a super user. Means again one more table is created called as a admin table. And in that admin table, we have to add the admin credentials, which I'm sure in every website you people have created one table called admin, right? Like some people might have done in their college days, like shopping website and all. So you might have added one admin table, and through admin login, we added new products and then deleted products and all of that shopping website. Same here. So we need to create a super user before accessing the admin panel. Okay. So to do so, use Python manage.py create super user. Now what this command will do? Again, it will issue a SQL query to the backend. and in your backend, that is in your SQLite, it will create one admin table. Okay, one admin table is created. See, Python manage.py create super user. Now you have to give the username which you want for the admin, the email address, the password, everything. And after that the message will come, super user created successfully. Okay, see, here now I'll write the command python manage.py and create super user. Okay, right, all of you? Now username, leave bank to use Dell. Dell means whatever is your system name, means my system name is Dell, so it's taking that. If you leave it blank, no, to you give it. I'm giving name as admin. Okay, then this is an optional information, but if you want you can give. I'm sending the email ID, then the password. Suppose I'm keeping password admin only. Okay, so it is giving a warning like the password is too similar to the username and all. Okay. Okay, but still bypass password validation and create user anyway. You may not get if you have given different. I'm saying yes, enter. Is it giving a message super user created successfully? Just see how the work is becoming so easy. You don't have to bother also with this command. Directly in your SQLite, one admin table is created. In that admin table, columns are there. In that column, this username, this email ID, this password, everything got saved. You understanding or no? Right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
To see how our efforts are reduced, we don't have to bother about going into that table and then going into the backend, then creating the table, then adding a record for admin, which I'm sure you have done it. Yes or no? I guess like Monica has done graduation project with me only. No,
Yes, sir.
yes, Aniket.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You might have done it. That time you manually created an admin table and all that things. See here, the work is done. Now just start your admin page. Okay, and for that too, automatic an admin page will come. A login window will come. Just put this credentials and you'll enter into the admin window. Okay, so run your server in the background now, because now we have to start with the admin login. So the server is needed. Okay. So meanwhile what I had done, I had stopped my server. So again I'll start my server. Python manage.py run server. Okay, my server will be again running. For time being I had kept it, I had stopped it because I was doing the development of my website. Now go to the browser and just you have to type /admin after 8000. So localhost :8000/ and admin. The moment you say enter admin, it will show you an admin login page. See. Okay. Fill out the details, that is username and the password that you have given at the time of creating that admin. See, it will show you this Django admin login page. Enter that and login. Once you log in, it will show you the complete panel, admin panel, where you can do activities on your post table. Okay? See, so now I'll go to the browser and just here I'll write /admin, enter. You can see this. I'll type admin because I gave that. Whatever you people have given, you give it. Okay? And enter. Can you see? It has come into this admin panel. And see, can you see this table? This is your application name, blog. Inside that there is a table. Okay? The moment I click on it, it shows this. Now if you want to add it, just click on this plus. See, title and content. So great, na? Like there you just created a class, and in that class you have given a one column name title, one column name content. It fetched, gave you this. Now I'm adding some post in it. Okay? Like what is Python, suppose. Right? So I can say it is high level interpreted general purpose multi paradigm programming language. Save. So great, na? Like, can you see here one post is there? Getting? Want to add one more? Just add one more. Like, what is constructor or what is self? Whatever you want, you can give. Okay, I'll give Django. You can say it is high level Python web development framework. Dot. It's your choice what you want to write. The block title, see, 2 blocks are added. Can you see? Okay, if you click again on this post, it will show you this. If I click on that title, okay, it will show you this whole thing, the title, the content. If you want to delete, click on delete. You want to change it, you want to make changes, change it. Clear? And after doing the changes, you can click on it. So it will edit. So can you see this? It has added all the things, like adding a new post, deleting a post, viewing the post, all activities you can do. Okay, so till here, if you are done with, so just tell me. Means, can you see your admin page, admin panel, and then can you see that post, and by clicking it you are getting the table, and then you added some in it? Sure. So at least anyone show the screenshot of your machine in the group. Right? Good.
Sir, I can see the admin page, but I have not added anything yet.
Add it. Add at least 1 or 2 posts. Others like Niket, Monica and Anuja, other Abhishek.
So actually, in my area, there is network problem, so I have missed some steps. My screen was freezing, so I'll do it later from start.
Okay. Just note down the commands, that is main thing. ठीक है. तो
हाँ sir, I have noted down.
okay. Here you can. Okay. Here, is there any way of adding images in the post? Don't think so. Here in the chat, images inserting is there.
Sir, he can just present the screen.
That is only one option. In the web, WhatsApp you can add, because simultaneously here I have WhatsApp. You can, but it is just going to view it. Images, does it show if you? Okay, he's saying shown here. Good. ठीक है. he has done it. Here you can see this, you can change the password also of your admin which we created. Okay. So editing and all can be done. So I hope this part is clear. So only one part is remaining. Shall I tell you that too? Like how we can fetch all these records. Without admin panel, can we write our Python script to fetch all these posts and display it in the browser? Or I'll take a separate session for it. Up to you. I mean, if it is too hectic. Huh.
Separate session.
Okay, ठीक है, no problem. No issues. So only that one part is remaining, that is how to fetch all these posts and through Jinja technique how we can display that in our browser. Okay? Jinja concept meaning you'll write normal HTML and in that HTML how the values will get substituted. You know, that I'm sure in PHP, JavaScript also you might have done. Like we generate HTML through the loops and all. We don't write, or in PHP you write an expressions, or in Java, JSP you write expressions like this. Means you write your normal HTML. Like see, suppose I have written here bold, answer is equal to /b, and then here only you write an expression, answer. So this is actually, this much is only a Java part. So runtime here the value is substituted. This is your plain HTML. And this much part is your Java part. So runtime, whatever the answer is, that it substitutes and then it sends it to the browser. Now sometimes see when you want to create a table, lot of records are there. So in JSP or in PHP you might have written a loops and all, and you have displayed it. Getting or no? Like for example in JavaScript, I want to display hello world 6 times. So I just write a for loop like this. For I equal to 1, I less than equal to 6, I plus plus, and then I write document dot write, and then I write h, then that plus I, then close bracket, hello world, then /h, again plus I, and then I write that close bracket. So what happens is that this for loop will produce this whole code 6 times, and every time it will just substitute the value of I. One time it will 1, then next time 2, next time 3, next time 4. So is this for loop only going to make and give you 6 tags, h1 to h6? What say guys? Clear? So when this for loop runs, so you will get 6 HTML tags and then they are sent to the browser. Same technique this Python follows, that is called as a Jinja technique, where you'll write your normal HTML, getting, and appropriate place you want to substitute Python values. Means you will write your HTML page and at appropriate place Python values you want to substitute. So you can substitute at runtime. Remaining HTML will be as it is, and appropriate place Python values are substituted using that Jinja concept.